Now we're into the transition questions, and remember, most of the transition words are going to fall into those four main categories. But when a question has a weirder transition, it's usually going to be very, very obvious. So let's take a look at this question. After appropriate permissions are granted, a typical archaeological dig begins with a surveyor making a detailed grid of the excavation site. Then the site is carefully dug and any artifacts found are recorded and mapped onto the grid site. The artifacts are removed, cataloged, and analyzed in a laboratory. So we had some really big clues here. After, then, we're talking about time here, right? So look at our choices. Well, for instance, I mean, that's not a for instance of anything, right? The artifacts are found and recorded and then mapped onto the grid site. This is not an example that they're removed, cataloged, and analyzed in a laboratory. That's a new thing. That's a new step in the process, and it's certainly not the opposite of any other step that came before it. Now, think about how time works, right? We've been talking about a list of events, of steps in a process. So why would we go to earlier? We're following what's happening, right? First, there's a typical archaeological dig. Then they carefully dig the site, and then the artifacts are removed and cataloged. So finally is the step here, right? You have to dig first, then you can remove the stuff. So it's not an earlier situation. You can't remove them first. You have to dig them out first. So I think that is easy, but I think people are worried about these transition questions because there's so many things that can happen. But if it's a weirder transition, like a time transition, you will have clues. So look for those clues, and obviously the answer choice will include a clue as well, just because they'll have time answers in the choices. So just think about it in a normal way, and most of these weird situations will just kind of work themselves out.